Learn how to use the modern fetch API along with async await to pull data or text assets asynchronously from a web server without reloading it. In this lesson, we want to look at how the fetch API works. And just as you know that we have web APIs, and fetch API is one of the web API that we have available. So in the olden days of the web, if a page wanted to if a page wanted to pull fresh data from a server, so you usually do something like this. So you have to reload the page, the entire tab. So and this can make the website very slow and clunky. So with the fetch API, it completely revolutionized this because it acts as a digital runner for your web page. So it works in the background, grab a piece of data from web server and bring back to you to your JavaScript code while your user continues scrolling without any interruption. So once you make the request, so this API will work in the background and get that data without obstructing your user experience. So now let's look at a simple code that demonstrates how the fetch API works. So let's move into the script section. And in the script section, let's make an async function. So we are going to be using async and await in this example. So the name of our function, let's call it get text. Get text. And what is the parameters that you want to pass in? It could be anything. So let me just put file as our parameter here. And inside this async and get function, let's make a variable. My object equals to, then you call on await. Since you are using async, then you need an await to run underground and fetch your parameter, that is the file. And make another variable and call it my text or anything. Then use await again in order to now call your object alongside with the text. Now document.getElement by id demo.innerHTML equals to my text. And now, how do you use your text? So, for example, let's say we make a simple file. Let me call it the fetch info.txt like this. And inside it, let me just put something random like this. If I return back into my JavaScript, then I can come to the top of my async await function and call get text. And inside it, I will just pass in the file fetch info.txt. Now, look at this, cannot get JS expression fetch info.txt. Let me see if I route. Now, you can see the content of my fetch info, lorem ipsum. So if you add more text, then it will keep adding like this. So what have we done in this very simple example? If you look closely, so this example shows how a script runs a function that requests a plain text file named fetch info.txt from the server. So using the modern asynchronous process awaits. So it waits for the server to reply and extract the raw content of that file and swap out the text inside the our P element with the file's contents automatically. So I'm talking about this P element. So it swap the content with what we have inside this file automatically and display it on the screen. So imagine we have a file that has a large volume of text. It can take time and delivering it over the internet might take time. So for those packets to travel from your a server back to your computer, so if there's no way to fetch this asynchronously, it can cause things like freezing your web page while you have to wait. But async and await helps prevent that, here in that it will just make the request underneath, like in the background, and when the result is available, it will bring it back and then show it to you uh, on the screen. So this is how you can make use of the fetch API in order to fetch uh, what is it called? In order to fetch data or text asynchronously from a web server without having to reload the page. You can see that I didn't have to reload the page. Once you get the location of the information right, probably in a real application, this is not just going to be a simple TXT file. It could be a URL that links to a server where the information that you want to get is contained. So it is what will be passed into this part of our code, and then once it has the result, it can then go ahead and display it on our screen. So here are a few key takeaways from this lesson. Number one, fetch method is built natively into modern browsers. No extra libraries or tools are required. You don't need any external library or tools before you can use this fetch method. So it is built in natively into modern browser. You just call it and then it will do whatever it is that you want it to do. And this is the API, the method I'm talking about. You can see it fetch. Now, and you can see function fetch, request info or URL, init, request, init, promise, responses. So this is the a method that we're talking about. Number two, whenever you use the await keyword inside a function, that function must have the async tag. And you can see that our function, as it is said here, is prefixed with async. So the await and the async tag works hand in hand. So they must be slapped together onto its front declaration, or instead your code will throw an error. For example, let me take out this async prefix now and see what is going to happen. And now you can see the text has disappeared from the screen. And if you hover it, you can see this, that you will see this error now. Await expression are only allowed within async function and at the top level of mode. So these two tags works hand in hand together, async and await. And lastly, beyond plain text file like the one we use for the demonstration purpose in this example, I'm referring to this. Fetch method is most commonly used to pull live reactive data objects, JSON, from third-party server databases. So in live application, you mostly use it to pull live data in JSON response. So this could be a URL, like I said earlier, and it will pull those information in form of a JSON and return it back to you once it fetches from a web server.